I screwed up. I really screwed up. I bought a bootleg copy of Minecraft from this weird, anonymous seller online. It was dirt cheap, and I just thought, what's the harm? I've been playing this game since I was a kid. I thought I knew it inside and out. But this isn't Minecraft. This game, it's watching me. It's learning my deepest fears and literally building a world out of them. It's creating a personalised nightmare, and I think the thing inside of it is trying to get out. I have to document this. Someone needs to see this, because I have no idea what's going to happen to me. It all started a few days ago. I found the listing on some obscure forum, Minecraft Rare Deluxe Edition. The description was vague, the price was next to nothing. I know, it should have been a massive red flag, but the nostalgia got me, and I clicked buy. The download was just a single file with a weird, slightly off-colour grass block icon. No installer, no launcher, just a file. I clicked it, and the game just started. At first, everything seemed normal enough. The classic title screen, the single-player button. I created a new world, ready to punch some trees. But when the world loaded, this wave of unease just washed over me. The colours were a little muted, you know, like a photograph left in the sun for too long. The sun was a sickly pale yellow, and the world was just quiet. Too quiet. That gentle cave ambience, the animal sounds, they were all replaced by this low, barely there hum. But it was Minecraft. Blocks were blocks, physics worked. I just told myself it was a weird texture pack or some audio bug from a cheap copy. I spent the first day going through the motions, gathered wood, made a crafting table, built a sad little dirt hut for the night. Everything was fine. On the second day, I decided to explore the coastline near my spawn. Now, I've always had a thing about deep water. Thalassophobia, I think it's called. The idea of that vast, dark, crushing emptiness and whatever could be hiding in it just gives me this primal dread. I stood at the edge of the water, and it just looked wrong. Even in the shallows, the water was this inky, opaque black. You couldn't see the bottom. It was like staring into a void. Against my better judgment, I waded in a little. The second my character's feet went under, that low hum I'd been hearing got way louder. It felt like it was coming from under the world itself. A deep thrum that vibrated through my headphones. Then, I heard another sound, a soft, wet scraping from the darkness below. It wasn't a squid, it wasn't a guardian. It was a sound I had never, ever heard in this game. I scrambled back onto the shore so fast, my heart pounding in my chest. What the hell was that? It had to be a glitch. This whole version was probably just a buggy mess. That's what I told myself. That's what I had to believe. I quit for the day. Deep down, I already knew it wasn't just broken. It was something else. My paranoia just snowballed from there. I decided to stay as far inland as possible, away from that terrifying ocean. The new plan was simple. Get diamonds, get secure. But that meant mining, and that meant facing another one of my fears. See, I'm not great with tight spaces. Claustrophobia. It doesn't give me a full-blown panic attack, but it makes me deeply uncomfortable. And this game, it felt like it knew. I found a cave and headed in, torches ready. The first few tunnels were normal, wide passages, some coal, some iron. But the deeper I went, the narrower they got. Soon, I was squeezing through one by one tunnels that felt like they were pressing in on me. The stone textures even seemed to pulse in the torchlight. I started hearing a new sound, a low, grinding noise, like the world itself was shifting. I'd stop, listen, and it would go silent. The moment I started moving again, the grinding would come back, always sounding like it was just behind me. I pushed on, desperate to find a bigger cavern, and hit a dead end. I turned to go back, and my blood ran cold. The tunnel I'd just come through was gone. It was a solid wall of stone. No cave-in, no pile of gravel. It was just sealed. Panic set in. This wasn't a glitch. This was intentional. I started frantically digging with my stone pickaxe, the grinding sound now deafeningly loud all around me, like I was being buried alive. Just as my pickaxe was about to break, I burst through into a cavern. It was enormous, unnaturally huge, a colossal, perfectly spherical chamber that dwarfed any cave I'd ever seen, and it was filled with webs and spiders, dozens and dozens of them. Now I hate spiders, always have. Arachnophobia. And these things weren't just attacking. They were moving with this horrifying intelligence, scurrying up the walls and hanging from the ceiling in synchronized, swirling patterns. Their red eyes were all locked onto me. None of them moved to attack. They just watched. I couldn't take it. I turned and ran, not caring where I was going, just away from those eyes. As I sprinted across the plains to get back to my base, I saw something at the edge of my render distance. A figure. It had the shape of a player, but it was completely black. A void in the shape of a person. It didn't move. It didn't have a nameplate. It was just standing there in the fog, watching me. I ran faster. When I finally barricaded myself inside my dirt hut, shaking, I saw it. On the wall was a sign I did not place. It was covered in numbers: 74, 68, 65, 2077, 61, 60C, 60C, 73, 2068, 61, 76, 65, 2065, 79, 65, 73. It wasn't random. It was hexadecimal code. My heart pounding. I pulled up a converter online and typed it in. The game wasn't just haunted. It was sending me a message. The walls have eyes. That night, I didn't dare sleep. I huddled in my tiny shelter as the sun went down, replaced by a moon that seemed too big and too bright. I've never been truly afraid of the dark, not like some people. But I'm terrified of what's in the dark. That absolute suffocating blackness where your eyes play tricks on you, and you can't be sure if that shadow in the corner is just a shadow, or if it's breathing. Nyctophobia, the fear of an active, hungry darkness. Then, the first torch on the wall flickered and went out. Not like it burned out, it was just extinguished. Then, another, and another. One by one, my lights were snuffed out by something I couldn't see, plunging me into absolute, impenetrable black. I couldn't see my hand in front of my face. The game's UI was gone. I couldn't open my inventory, couldn't move. I was paralyzed in the void. That's when the sounds began. A soft footstep right beside my ear. The crunch of dirt, as if someone was walking circles around me in my tiny hut. Then, a whisper. A distorted, guttural whisper that seemed to come from every direction at once. I couldn't understand the language, but the meaning was crystal clear. It was hostile. It was hunting me. I was mashing my keyboard, hitting every key, trying to do anything at all. My character was completely frozen. I was trapped. Then, my view was yanked upwards, and in the suffocating blackness in front of me, two white eyes snapped open. Just eyes. No face, no body. Just two glowing, hateful points of light hanging in the void. They were staring right at me. Not at my character. At me. A deafening digital screech ripped through my headphones. The sound of pure data corruption and agony. My screen dissolved into a mess of glitched pixels and tearing colors. And then, my entire PC shut down. My monitor went black for a second, then flashed to a blue screen of death. But it wasn't a normal error message. There was only a single, horrifying line of text in the middle of the screen. I'm almost out. My computer rebooted on its own, the startup chime sounding warped and wrong. When my desktop finally loaded, everything looked normal. For a second. Then I saw it. On the side of my screen, there was a new file that wasn't there before. A plain text file named connection.txt. The game had reached out of its world and into mine. It created a file on my actual desktop. My hand was shaking as I moved the mouse and double-clicked the file. It opened in Notepad. The document was filled with thousands of lines of corrupted characters, just a chaotic jumble of symbols and broken code. But as I scrolled through the mess, a single line of plain English stood out. It said, "It wears my fears as a disguise." My blood ran cold. What did that mean? Was this a message from the entity itself? Or was it from something else? A prisoner? A warning? I had to know. Taking a deep breath, I launched the bootleg executable again. The world loaded, but it was broken, scarred. The sky was a permanent, sickly, twilight purple. The trees were twisted and warped. The low hum was gone, replaced by a constant, faint whispering on the wind. The entity had touched my world, and in doing so, had fundamentally corrupted the game. And before you judge me for opening the game again, trust me, I tried everything to walk away. I deleted the file 3 times. It reappeared instantly. I unplugged my PC, and when I plugged it back in, the game auto-launched before Windows even finished booting. Every attempt to remove it felt like it only made it stronger, like it wanted me to try. And there was something else too, curiosity mixed with dread. If this thing was already inside my system, already reaching into my reality, then ignoring it wouldn't make it disappear. I needed answers. I needed to know what I was dealing with. That's the only reason I opened it again. I'm not just a player anymore. I feel like a prisoner, trapped in a cage built from my own anxieties, stalked by something that's using them to break into my reality. I don't know what to do. I feel like I'm running out of time. First a sign, the walls have eyes. Now this file, it wears my fears as a disguise. It has to be the key to understanding what's happening. Is the entity not what it appears to be? Is something else trapped in here with me, trying to send a warning? I'm putting this out there because I need help. If you have any idea what this means, if you see a connection I'm missing, please let me know. I need to figure this out before it tries to get out again. I think it's getting stronger.